Every coin has a story, but some stories are far more remarkable than they first appear. Welcome back to ARY Coins News. Today, we're taking a closer look at a fascinating U.S. quarter that has captured the attention of collectors for its history, unique design, genuine mint errors, and collector interest. Before you spend your next quarter, stay with us. You might discover details you've never noticed before. Let's begin our journey into the world of rare coins. Step 1. Stop scrolling for just one moment, because the quarter sitting quietly in your pocket right now could have a story far greater than you ever imagined. Every year, millions of Americans spend quarters without giving them a second glance. Yet some of these everyday coins end up becoming prized collectibles that collectors chase for years. Among the most talked about modern coins is the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter, a historic piece that introduced an entirely new chapter in American coinage. But what makes this quarter so special? Is it simply another 25-cent coin, or could certain examples become the hidden treasures of tomorrow? Today, we're uncovering the complete history, the real collector value, the rare mint errors, and the fascinating details that many people never notice. The story of this remarkable quarter begins long before it entered circulation. In 2022, the United States Mint launched the American Women Quarters program, a multi-year series created to honor women whose achievements changed American history. Maya Angelou became the very first woman featured in the program, making this coin an instant historical landmark. Her influence reached far beyond literature. She inspired generations through poetry, autobiographies, civil rights activism, and public speaking. Because this was the opening coin of a brand new national series, millions of collectors immediately added it to their collections, creating excitement from the moment it was released. One of the most striking features of this quarter is its unique reverse design. Instead of the familiar eagle that appeared on many earlier Washington quarters, the back now shows Maya Angelou with her arms raised toward the sky. Behind her, a soaring bird symbolizes freedom, while a radiant rising sun reflects hope and perseverance, themes deeply connected to her writing and life's journey. Every artistic detail was chosen with care to represent resilience and optimism, rather than simply creating another commemorative coin. For many collectors, this design alone makes the quarter stand apart from nearly every modern circulation coin produced during the last several decades. Turn the coin over, and you'll immediately recognize the familiar portrait of George Washington. However, even this side carries historical importance. The portrait is based on Laura Garden Fraser's original 1932 design, which was selected decades after it was first proposed. This updated portrait gives the coin a fresh appearance while honoring America's first president. Along with the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the year 2022, the obverse blends traditional American symbolism with a modern artistic style. This combination of old and new is one reason collectors believe the American Women Quarters program will remain historically significant for generations. Now comes the question that sparks endless debate online. Is every 2022 Maya Angelou quarter valuable? The honest answer is no. Most quarters found in everyday circulation are worth exactly 25 cents because the United States Mint produced hundreds of millions of them. However, value in coin collecting is determined by much more than age. Condition, rarity, mint location, striking quality, and unusual production errors all play major roles in determining whether a coin becomes desirable. A perfectly preserved, uncirculated coin can already command a premium over face value, while truly unusual mint-error examples may sell for substantially more when authenticated by professional grading services. The 2022 Maya Angelou quarter was produced at 3 different United States mint facilities. Coins bearing a P mint mark came from Philadelphia, those with a D were struck in Denver, and specially made collector versions with an S mint mark were produced in San Francisco. Philadelphia and Denver coins entered everyday circulation, while San Francisco examples were primarily created for collectors in proof and special mint sets. Each mint follows the same official design, yet tiny differences in strike quality, surface finish, and production methods make each version interesting to collectors who enjoy comparing every detail. One of the reasons this quarter continues attracting attention is the possibility of genuine mint errors. During the coining process, massive presses strike thousands of planchets every hour. Although modern quality control is extremely advanced, occasional mistakes still escape into circulation. These accidental errors, not damage that occurs after a coin leaves the mint, are what collectors search for. Authentic mint errors can include off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, struck through debris, retained cuds, missing clad layers, or dramatic misalignments. The more unusual and visually obvious the error, the greater its potential collector appeal. However, every suspected error should be carefully examined, and if valuable enough, authenticated by a respected grading service before anyone assumes it is rare. Many videos and social media posts claim that ordinary Maya Angelou quarters are worth thousands or even millions of dollars. In reality, extraordinary prices are reserved for exceptionally rare circumstances, such as dramatic mint errors, unique production varieties, or coins preserved in extraordinary condition that earn the highest professional grades. Experienced collectors never rely solely on viral claims. Instead, they study verified auction results, examine certification records, and compare genuine examples before determining a coin's value. That careful approach separates informed collecting from speculation and helps protect both new and experienced collectors alike. The excitement surrounding the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter grows even stronger when collectors begin searching for unusual mint errors. Unlike damage that happens after a coin enters circulation, a genuine mint error is created inside the United States Mint during the manufacturing process. Imagine a coin leaving the press with part of its design missing, slightly off-center, or carrying an unexpected crack from a worn die. These mistakes are accidental, and because only a small number escape inspection, they often become the pieces that collectors compete to own. The key is learning the difference between a true mint error and ordinary wear, scratches, or damage caused by years of everyday use. One of the most recognized errors is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank planchet is not perfectly aligned before it is struck by the dies. As a result, part of the design is missing while a blank crescent-shaped area appears on the coin. The greater the off-center strike, while still showing the date and design, the more desirable the coin usually becomes. Another fascinating error is the broad strike, where the retaining collar fails to hold the planchet in place. Instead of its normal shape, the coin spreads outward, creating a wider appearance with missing edge details. These dramatic errors immediately catch a collector's eye because they are impossible to overlook. Collectors also pay close attention to die cracks and retained cuds. A die crack develops after the steel die begins to wear from striking countless coins under tremendous pressure. This leaves raised lines on the finished coin that were never intended to be part of the design. If a larger piece of the die breaks away, it creates what is known as a cud, leaving a raised, irregular blob of metal on the coin. These errors are especially interesting because they show the gradual aging of the dies used in production. Every genuine die crack tells a small part of the coin's manufacturing history and reminds collectors that even advanced minting technology is not completely immune to wear. Another error that generates excitement is the struck-through error. During the striking process, a small piece of grease, cloth fiber, or another foreign material can become trapped between the die and the planchet. When this happens, part of the design may appear weak, missing, or unusually textured. Since the foreign material is removed after striking, the finished coin permanently records the moment of that accidental obstruction. Collectors find these errors fascinating because every example is unique, and no two struck-through coins look exactly alike. Their unusual appearance often makes them memorable additions to specialized collections. When it comes to value, condition is just as important as rarity. A heavily worn quarter with a minor error may attract modest collector interest, while an uncirculated example with brilliant original surfaces can command a much stronger premium. Professional grading services examine every detail under magnification, checking the strike quality, surface preservation, luster, and overall eye appeal before assigning a numerical grade. Higher grades generally mean stronger demand, especially for modern coins that have survived without scratches, cleaning, or circulation wear. That's why experienced collectors handle promising coins carefully, often storing them in protective holders instead of spending them like ordinary change. If you discover a 2022 Maya Angelou quarter that appears unusual, patience is one of your greatest tools. Never clean the coin, polish it, or attempt to improve its appearance. Cleaning almost always reduces collector value because it alters the original surface created at the mint. Instead, compare the coin carefully with a normal example under good lighting and magnification. If the difference appears to be a genuine mint-produced feature rather than damage, professional authentication can provide confidence about what you have. Even when a coin turns out not to be rare, the process of learning to identify authentic mint errors is one of the most rewarding parts of coin collecting, and every discovery adds to your experience as a collector. As more collectors entered the hobby after 2020, the 2022 Maya Angelou quarter quickly became one of the most searched modern American coins, not because every example was rare, but because it marked the beginning of a historic series that celebrated influential American women. First-year issues often attract extra attention, and this quarter earned a special place in collections from the day it was released. Many collectors believe that owning the first coin in a long-running series adds historical significance, making it a favorite among both beginners and experienced numismatists. One question appears again and again: could this coin become more valuable in the future? The truthful answer is that no one can predict the coin market with certainty. Collector demand, the number of surviving high-grade examples, and future interest in the American Women Quarters program will all influence prices over time. While most circulated coins are likely to remain common, certified mint-state examples, proof coins, silver proof editions, and dramatic authenticated mint errors have a better chance of maintaining collector interest because they are scarcer than ordinary pocket change. Another important detail many people overlook is the edge of the coin. A genuine 2022 Maya Angelou quarter has a reeded edge with evenly spaced grooves around the rim. If you ever find a coin with an unusually smooth edge, a partially missing edge, or an irregular shape caused during the minting process, it deserves closer examination. However, normal wear can also change a coin's appearance, so experienced collectors compare every suspicious piece with a standard quarter before assuming it is an error. Careful observation is always more valuable than excitement alone. Some collectors also search for double design features. True double die varieties occur during the creation of the die itself, not during the striking of individual coins. These varieties show clear, repeated design elements under magnification and are different from machine doubling, which usually adds little or no collector value. Distinguishing between the two requires patience, proper lighting, and often a magnifying loupe. Learning this skill takes time, but it is one of the most satisfying parts of becoming a knowledgeable coin collector. The greatest lesson this coin teaches is that successful collecting is built on knowledge rather than luck. Every quarter tells a story, from the artists who designed it, to the mint employees who produced it, to the collectors who preserve it for future generations. Whether your Maya Angelou quarter is worth only 25 cents or becomes a prized collectible because of its exceptional condition or a genuine mint error, It represents an important chapter in modern American coinage. That historical connection is something every collector can appreciate. As we reach the end of today's journey, remember that the next remarkable discovery could be hiding in a roll of bank-wrapped quarters, a cash register, or even the loose change sitting in your home. The thrill of coin collecting comes from curiosity, patience, and the excitement of never knowing what the next coin might reveal. Keep learning, examine every coin carefully, and always verify unusual finds before believing extraordinary claims. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy rare coin history, collector tips, and the latest coin discoveries, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next rare coin news alert. Happy collecting, and I'll see you in the next video. Step 2. Don't spend your next quarter until you've looked at it closely, because one ordinary-looking coin could hold far more history than most people realize. Hidden among everyday pocket change is the 2016 Theodore Roosevelt National Park Quarter, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors across America. While millions were struck for circulation, certain examples have become far more desirable because of their exceptional condition or genuine mint-produced errors. Today, we're uncovering the complete story behind this fascinating quarter, from its historical inspiration to the collector's secrets that many people never notice. By the end of this journey, you'll know exactly what makes this coin so special and what to look for before you spend another quarter. The story begins in the rugged landscapes of western North Dakota, where Theodore Roosevelt National Park stands as a tribute to one of America's most influential presidents. Long before he entered the White House, Theodore Roosevelt spent time ranching in the Dakota Territory after personal tragedy changed his life forever. The experience shaped his love for nature and wildlife, eventually inspiring his lifelong commitment to conservation. As president, he established national forests, wildlife refuges, and protected millions of acres of public land. Because of this extraordinary legacy, the United States Mint selected Theodore Roosevelt National Park to appear on the 2016 America the Beautiful Quarter, honoring both the man and the landscape that transformed his vision for the future. The reverse of the quarter immediately captures attention with a striking design that shows Theodore Roosevelt riding horseback through the Badlands of North Dakota. Towering rock formations stretch into the distance, while the rugged landscape reflects the wild beauty that inspired Roosevelt's conservation efforts. Unlike many modern coins that feature simple symbolic designs, this quarter tells a story through its artwork. Every detail, from Roosevelt's determined posture to the dramatic scenery, reminds collectors that this is more than a circulating coin. It represents one of the defining chapters in American environmental history and celebrates a president whose influence can still be seen in national parks across the country. Turn the coin over and you'll find the familiar portrait of George Washington, based on the classic design that has appeared on modern quarters for decades, alongside the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the year 2016. The obverse continues the long tradition of the Washington Quarter series. If your coin carries a small D mint mark, it means it was struck at the Denver Mint. Denver produced hundreds of millions of quarters that year, making most circulated examples common. However, as every experienced collector knows, rarity is not created simply by low mintage. It is often the combination of outstanding condition, unusual production errors, and collector demand that transforms an ordinary coin into something far more desirable. Many new collectors believe every older quarter must automatically be valuable, but the truth is more interesting. Most 2016 Theodore Roosevelt quarters found in everyday circulation are worth face value because they were produced in large numbers. Yet coins preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition, with sharp details and original mint luster, often command a premium among collectors assembling high-quality sets. Certified examples receiving the highest mint state grades from professional grading services are significantly scarcer than worn circulation pieces, which is why advanced collectors are willing to pay more for exceptional quality rather than simply for age. Perhaps the greatest excitement surrounding this quarter comes from the possibility of genuine mint errors. During the minting process, thousands of coins are struck every hour using enormous pressure. Although quality control is excellent, a small number of mistakes occasionally escape into circulation. Collectors search for dramatic off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, struck through errors, missing clad layers, and other authentic mint-produced varieties. These errors occur before the coin ever leaves the mint, making them fundamentally different from scratches, dents, or damage caused after years of circulation. The more dramatic and clearly identifiable the mint error, the greater its appeal to collectors, provided it is professionally authenticated. One important lesson every collector learns is to separate fact from internet myths. Videos and social media posts often claim that ordinary 2016 quarters are worth thousands or even millions of dollars simply because they have a Denver mint mark or appear shiny. In reality, extraordinary prices are reserved for exceptionally rare circumstances, such as dramatic authenticated mint errors, unusually high professional grades, or unique varieties recognized by the collecting community. Knowledge is the greatest tool a collector can own. Understanding the history of the coin, learning how mint errors are created, and relying on verified authentication rather than sensational claims will always lead to better collecting decisions and a far more rewarding hobby. The moment collectors begin examining the 2016 D. Theodore Roosevelt quarter under magnification, an entirely different world opens up. Tiny details that seem invisible to the naked eye suddenly become incredibly important. One of the first things experienced collectors inspect is the strike quality. A sharply struck coin will display crisp details on Theodore Roosevelt, the horse, and the rugged North Dakota landscape, while a weaker strike may show softer features. Although a weak strike is not considered a mint error, exceptionally well-struck examples with brilliant original luster are often more desirable because they represent the coin exactly as it left the mint. For many collectors, finding a beautifully preserved example in circulation is almost as exciting as discovering an unusual error. Among the genuine mint errors associated with modern quarters, off-center strikes remain one of the most dramatic. This occurs when the blank planchet is not perfectly positioned between the dies before the strike takes place. Instead of receiving a centered design, part of the coin remains blank, while the rest of the design is shifted noticeably to one side. The most desirable off-center errors usually retain the date and mint mark while displaying a significant misalignment. Because these pieces are instantly recognizable, they often become favorites among collectors who specialize in mint mistakes. However, every off-center coin is unique, making each discovery different from the last. Another fascinating error collectors search for is the clipped planchet, before a coin is struck. It begins as a blank metal disc punched from a long strip of metal. Occasionally, the punching process overlaps an existing hole, creating a blank with a curved section missing. When that incomplete blank is struck, the finished coin displays a smooth, crescent-shaped clip along its edge. Genuine clipped planchet errors show specific characteristics that experts use to distinguish them from post-mint damage. Collectors value these coins because the mistake occurred before the design was ever impressed onto the metal, making it a true product of the minting process rather than damage caused after circulation. Die cracks are another area of interest for advanced collectors. Over time, the enormous pressure used to strike coins causes the steel dies to develop tiny fractures. These fractures appear on finished coins as raised lines because metal flows into the cracks during striking. Some die cracks are thin and subtle, while others expand dramatically as the die continues to wear. If a portion of the die eventually breaks away, it creates a larger raised feature known as a cud. These progressive changes allow collectors to study how a die ages during production, almost like watching the life story of the die unfold one strike at a time. Every authentic die crack represents a small piece of minting history, frozen forever in metal. Perhaps one of the biggest misconceptions in modern coin collecting is that any unusual-looking coin must automatically be valuable. In reality, countless coins are damaged after leaving the mint through parking meters, machinery, tools, chemicals, heat, or everyday circulation. These forms of damage may create unusual appearances, but they are not considered mint errors and generally add no collector value. This is why experienced numismatists rely on careful examination and professional authentication instead of quick assumptions. Understanding the difference between a true mint error and post-mint damage is one of the most important skills any collector can develop. If you believe you've discovered something unusual on your 2016 D. Theodore Roosevelt quarter, resist the temptation to clean or polish it. Original surfaces are highly prized, and even gentle cleaning can leave microscopic scratches that permanently reduce collector appeal. Store the coin in a non-PVC holder, examine it under proper lighting, and compare it with a normal example before reaching conclusions. If the coin displays a dramatic feature that appears to have originated during the minting process, professional grading and authentication can confirm exactly what you have. Whether the result is a rare mint error or simply an interesting learning experience, every careful examination brings you one step closer to becoming a knowledgeable collector. As the search for remarkable coins continues, one question always rises above the rest. How much is the 2016 D. Theodore Roosevelt National Park quarter really worth? The answer depends entirely on the individual coin. A typical circulated example is generally worth its face value of 25 cents because hundreds of millions were produced. However, coins preserved in outstanding uncirculated condition, especially those with exceptional eye appeal and strong strikes, may bring a premium from collectors building high-grade sets. If a coin also has a genuine, dramatic mint error that is authenticated by a respected grading service, its collector value can increase significantly compared with an ordinary circulation piece. Every coin must be evaluated on its own merits rather than by its date alone. Professional grading plays a major role in determining collector value. Companies such as the major third-party grading services examine a coin under magnification, checking its surfaces, luster, strike quality, and overall preservation before assigning a numerical grade. A small difference in grade can have a meaningful effect on collector demand, especially for modern coins where many examples survive but very few remain in exceptional condition. That's why experienced collectors handle promising coins carefully, avoid touching the surfaces, and protect them from scratches, fingerprints, and environmental damage. Another fascinating aspect of this quarter is its place within the Complete America, the Beautiful Quarters program. Each design in the series celebrates a different national park or historic site, creating a collection that tells the story of America's natural beauty and historical landmarks. Because the Theodore Roosevelt National Park design honors one of the nation's greatest conservation leaders, it has earned lasting respect among collectors. Many enthusiasts aim to assemble complete daytime mint collections of the series, making well-preserved examples consistently desirable even years after their release. Every year, stories circulate online claiming that ordinary pocket change quarters have sold for astonishing amounts. While genuine high-value coins certainly exist, they almost always owe their prices to a combination of rarity, certified condition, dramatic mint errors, or extraordinary collector demand, not simply because they carry a particular date or mint mark. Successful collectors understand that patience, research, and careful verification are far more valuable than chasing sensational headlines. The real excitement comes from learning the history behind each coin and recognizing authentic collectible features when they appear. Imagine opening an old coin jar, searching through a bank roll, or receiving change from a local store. Most quarters will be ordinary, but every search sharpens your eye and deepens your knowledge. Coin collecting is a hobby built on curiosity, history, and the thrill of discovery. Even if your next find turns out to be a common example, the experience of examining it teaches you something new. And on rare occasions, careful collectors do uncover genuine mint errors or exceptionally preserved coins that become treasured additions to their collections. Those moments are what keep the hobby exciting year after year. As we come to the end of today's journey, remember that the true treasure of coin collecting isn't only measured in dollars. It's also measured in the stories each coin carries through history. The 2016 D. Theodore Roosevelt National Park Quarter reminds us of a president whose passion for protecting nature helped shape the United States for future generations. Whether your coin is an everyday circulation piece or an authenticated collectible, it represents a lasting connection to that history. Step 3. What if one ordinary-looking quarter carried a story stretching back hundreds of years, hidden in plain sight every time you reached into your pocket? The 2015 P. Kisatchie National Forest Quarter is one of those fascinating American coins that many people overlook without realizing it represents a place filled with history, wildlife, and natural beauty. At first glance, it may seem like just another Washington quarter, but collectors know every design has its own story, and this one is no exception. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the complete history, collector value, genuine mint errors, and the secrets that make this quarter one of the most interesting modern coins in the America the Beautiful series. Released in 2015, the Kisatchie National Forest Quarter honors Louisiana's only national forest, a landscape known for towering longleaf pine trees, winding trails, and remarkable biodiversity. The forest covers hundreds of thousands of acres and protects ecosystems that have existed for generations. By placing this remarkable location on a circulating quarter, the United States Mint transformed an everyday coin into a miniature tribute to America's natural heritage. Every time this quarter changes hands, it quietly tells the story of conservation, history, and the importance of preserving wild places for future generations. The reverse design is unlike any other coin in the series. It features a graceful wild turkey taking flight, while longleaf pine trees stand proudly in the background. Wildflowers beneath the bird add even more detail, creating a scene that feels alive despite being struck into metal. The design celebrates the unique wildlife found within Kisatchie National Forest and reminds collectors that America's quarters often serve as tiny works of art. Every feather, branch, and blade of grass was carefully chosen to represent the beauty of Louisiana's protected wilderness. On the front of the coin is the familiar portrait of George Washington, accompanied by the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the year 2015. If your coin carries the small P mint mark, it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Millions of these quarters entered circulation, meaning most examples found in pocket change remain common. However, collector interest doesn't depend only on how many coins were struck. The condition of the coin, the quality of the strike, and the presence of genuine mint-produced errors can all influence its desirability in the numismatic community. One of the biggest reasons collectors search through rolls of quarters is the possibility of discovering an authentic mint error. Although modern minting technology is highly advanced, occasional production mistakes still occur. Genuine mint errors can include off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, struck-through errors, missing clad layers, and other manufacturing abnormalities created before the coin ever leaves the mint. These are very different from scratches, dents, or damage caused after circulation. Learning to recognize the difference is one of the most valuable skills a collector can develop, because true mint errors are far scarcer than ordinary wear and tear. Many people are surprised to learn that the majority of circulated 2015 P. Kisatchie quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents. Yet that doesn't mean the coin has no collector appeal. Bright, uncirculated examples with original mint luster, especially those preserved without scratches or cleaning, often attract collectors building complete America the beautiful sets. Coins certified in the highest mint state grades are much more difficult to find than circulated pieces, which is why exceptional quality can matter just as much as rarity. For experienced collectors, finding a flawless modern quarter can be every bit as exciting as discovering an older coin. As the search continues, remember that every remarkable collection begins with careful observation rather than extraordinary claims. Some of the most valuable discoveries in coin collecting have come from patient collectors who examined ordinary-looking coins one by one instead of believing sensational stories. The 2015 P. Kisatchie National Forest quarter may not make every finder wealthy, but it offers something equally important: a chance to connect with American history, appreciate remarkable coin design, and perhaps uncover a genuine mint-produced rarity hiding in plain sight. And sometimes, that possibility is what makes the hunt so unforgettable. The deeper collectors explore the 2015 P. Kisatchie National Forest quarter, the more fascinating details they begin to notice. Under bright light and magnification, every line of the wild turkey, every branch of the towering pine trees, and every tiny design element tells a story about the minting process. Experienced collectors know that modern quarters are examined not only for their beautiful artwork, but also for subtle differences that can separate an ordinary coin from a highly desirable collectible. This is where patience becomes more valuable than luck, because the smallest detail can make the biggest difference. Among the most exciting discoveries is an authentic off-center strike. This error occurs when the blank planchet shifts out of position before being struck by the dies, leaving part of the design missing while creating a blank curved area on the coin. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more attention the coin usually receives from collectors, especially if the date, mint mark, and enough of the design remain visible. Every genuine off-center strike is unique, because no two planchets move in exactly the same way before the press closes with tremendous force. Another fascinating error is the clipped planchet. Before a quarter is ever struck, a blank metal disc is punched from a large sheet of metal. If the punching process overlaps another cut, a curved section of the blank is missing. When that incomplete blank enters the coin press, the finished coin displays a smooth crescent-shaped clip along its edge. Collectors appreciate clipped planchets because the mistake occurred before the design was struck, making it an authentic mint-produced error rather than damage caused after the coin entered circulation. Genuine examples also display characteristics that specialists use to distinguish them from ordinary damage. Die cracks and cuds are equally interesting because they reveal the gradual wear of the dies themselves. Every die used to strike coins experiences enormous pressure thousands of times each day. Eventually, tiny fractures can develop, allowing metal to flow into those cracks during striking and creating raised lines on the finished coin. If part of the die eventually breaks away, it forms a raised lump known as a cud. These progressive errors allow collectors to study different stages of die deterioration. Almost like reading the life history of the tools that produced America's coinage. Collectors should also understand the difference between mint errors and post-mint damage. A quarter that has been scratched by machinery, bent by heavy equipment, exposed to chemicals, or damaged during circulation may look unusual, but it is not considered a collectible mint error. This distinction is one of the most important lessons in numismatics. Experienced collectors compare suspicious coins with normal examples, study the characteristics of known error types, and seek professional authentication before concluding that a coin is truly rare. Careful verification protects collectors from costly mistakes and helps preserve confidence within the hobby. If you believe your 2015 P. Kisatchie quarter may be special, Resist the temptation to clean or polish it. Original surfaces are highly valued because they preserve the coin exactly as it left the mint. Even gentle cleaning can leave microscopic hairline scratches that permanently reduce collector appeal. Instead, store the coin safely in a protective holder, examine it carefully under proper lighting, and compare it with a standard example. If an unusual feature appears to have originated during the minting process, professional grading and authentication can help determine whether you've discovered an authentic mint error or simply an interesting circulation piece. Every careful examination adds experience, and every coin teaches another lesson in the fascinating world of collecting. As every collector eventually discovers, the true value of the 2015 P. Kisechi National Forest quarter depends on far more than the date stamped on its surface. Most examples that have spent years in circulation remain worth their face value because they were produced in large numbers for everyday commerce. However, coins preserved in exceptional uncirculated condition, with strong luster, sharp details, and minimal marks, often attract premiums from collectors building high-quality sets. If a coin also displays a dramatic, authenticated mint error, its collector value can be substantially higher than that of an ordinary circulation example. Each coin must be judged individually, which is why careful examination is so important. Professional grading is another factor that can influence collector interest. Third-party grading services examine a coin under magnification, evaluating its strike, surfaces, luster, and overall preservation before assigning a numerical grade. For modern quarters, the difference between a high mint state grade and a nearly flawless top-grade example can be significant because very few coins survive in truly outstanding condition. Serious collectors often seek certified coins because grading provides a consistent standard and helps confirm authenticity, especially when unusual mint errors are involved. The 2015 Kisechi Quarter also holds a special place within the America the Beautiful Quarters program. Each release honors a different national park or historic site, creating a collection that reflects the country's natural landscapes and cultural heritage. The Kisechi design stands out with its depiction of a wild turkey in flight surrounded by longleaf pines, capturing the unique character of Louisiana's only national forest. For many collectors, assembling the complete series is about more than monetary value. It's about preserving a miniature record of America's remarkable places through coinage. One of the biggest myths in modern coin collecting is that every unusual-looking coin is automatically rare or extremely valuable. In reality, genuine mint errors are uncommon, while post-mint damage is very common. A coin bent by machinery, scratched by tools, or altered through cleaning may appear unusual but generally carries little or no collector premium. Experienced collectors rely on evidence rather than excitement. They compare coins with known varieties, study minting characteristics, and seek professional opinions before reaching conclusions. That disciplined approach is what separates informed collecting from speculation. Perhaps the greatest reward of searching through pocket change isn't finding instant riches. It's developing the ability to recognize history, craftsmanship, and genuine rarity when they appear. Every roll of quarters, every handful of change, and every coin inherited from family has the potential to teach something new. Even if the next Kisechi quarter you find turns out to be a normal circulation piece, you've gained another opportunity to sharpen your knowledge and appreciation of American coinage. In the long run, that knowledge is one of the most valuable things any collector can own. Before you spend your next quarter, take a second look. The coin in your hand may simply be 25 cents, or it may be a beautifully preserved example that belongs in a collection. Either way, every coin has a story, and every collector starts with curiosity. Step 4. Before another quarter slips through your fingers at a checkout counter, pause for just a moment. That small piece of metal could be carrying one of the most beautiful designs ever released in the United States Mint's 50 State Quarters program. The 2001 D Rhode Island State Quarter isn't famous because every coin is rare. It is famous because it celebrates America's rich maritime history and has become a favorite among collectors searching for outstanding condition and genuine mint errors. Today, we're uncovering the complete story behind this remarkable quarter, separating facts from myths and revealing why collectors still search for exceptional examples more than 2 decades after its release. The year 2001 marked Rhode Island's appearance in the historic 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs ever introduced by the United States Mint. The reverse of the coin proudly displays the Ocean State, a nickname that reflects Rhode Island's deep connection to the Atlantic Ocean. Dominating the design is the elegant sailing yacht Reliance, gliding across Narragansett Bay, while the famous Claiborne Pell Bridge stretches across the background. Every detail was chosen to celebrate Rhode Island's maritime traditions, sailing culture, and coastal heritage, making this one of the most recognizable state quarter designs ever produced. Although the reverse attracts most of the attention, the front of the coin continues the timeless tradition established by the Washington Quarter series. George Washington's portrait appears alongside the inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, and the year 2001. If your coin carries the small D mint mark beneath the date, it was struck at the Denver Mint. Millions of these quarters entered circulation, making ordinary worn examples common. Yet experienced collectors understand that the true appeal of a coin often depends on its condition, strike quality, originality, and whether it possesses an authentic mint-produced error rather than simply its mintage. Many beginning collectors ask whether every 2001 D Rhode Island quarter is valuable. The honest answer is no. Most circulated examples remain worth 25 cents because they were produced in large quantities for everyday commerce. However, collectors actively search for brilliant uncirculated pieces with strong mint luster, crisp details, and minimal contact marks. Coins that have survived in exceptional condition for more than 20 years become increasingly difficult to find, especially those that receive top mint state grades from professional grading services. For advanced collectors, preserving quality is often more important than simply owning another example of the coin. One of the greatest sources of excitement surrounding this quarter comes from the possibility of genuine mint errors. During production, enormous coining presses strike thousands of coins every hour, and despite strict quality control, occasional mistakes escape into circulation. Collectors search for authentic off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, struck through errors, missing clad layers, and other manufacturing mistakes created inside the mint. These are completely different from scratches, dents, or damage caused after years of circulation. A verified mint error tells the story of an unexpected moment during production and is often far more collectible than an ordinary quarter. Another fascinating aspect of the Rhode Island quarter is its artistic balance. The yacht, the open water, and the bridge combine to create a scene that feels calm yet full of movement. Unlike many modern coins that focus on buildings or historical figures, this design celebrates the relationship between people and the sea. That distinctive artwork has helped the coin remain one of the most admired releases in the State Quarters series. Many collectors who assemble complete State Quarter sets consider the Rhode Island design one of the highlights of the entire program because of its elegant composition and instantly recognizable symbolism. As more people discover the world of coin collecting, the 2001 D Rhode Island quarter continues attracting attention, not because every example is worth a fortune, but because exceptional coins are always worth searching for. The thrill comes from carefully examining every detail, learning how the mint produced these coins, and understanding what separates a common circulation piece from a true collectible. Every quarter has a story, And sometimes the greatest treasure isn't hidden in extraordinary claims, but in the history, craftsmanship, and knowledge that each coin preserves for future generations. The real adventure begins when a collector places the 2001 Rhode Island quarter under a magnifying glass. Details that seem ordinary at first suddenly become the center of attention. The flowing sails, the lines of the famous bridge, and the calm waters surrounding the yacht reveal the remarkable craftsmanship that went into the design. Experienced collectors examine every part of the coin, searching for sharp strikes, original mint luster, and tiny characteristics that separate an average circulation piece from an outstanding collectible. In coin collecting, success often belongs to the person who notices what everyone else overlooks. One of the most desirable discoveries is a genuine off-center strike. This error happens when the blank planchet is not perfectly aligned inside the coining press before the dies strike it. Instead of a centered design, part of the coin remains blank while the image shifts noticeably to one side. If the date and mint mark are still visible, dramatic off-center strikes are especially popular among collectors because they clearly show an error that occurred during the minting process. Since every off-center strike is different, no two examples are exactly alike. Collectors also watch for die cracks, which develop after a die has struck thousands of coins under tremendous pressure. As the die begins to wear, tiny fractures form in the hardened steel. During striking, metal flows into those cracks, leaving raised lines on the finished coin. If a larger piece of the die eventually breaks away, it creates what specialists call a cud, producing a raised area where part of the design should be. These mint-made features are fascinating because they document the gradual aging of the tools that created the coin, turning each affected quarter into a small record of the mint's production process. Another authentic mint error is the struck-through error. During production, a small piece of grease, cloth fiber, or another foreign material can become trapped between the die and the planchet. When the dies strike the coin, that material prevents part of the design from forming normally. After the obstruction falls away, the coin is left with a permanent missing or weakened design in that specific area. Because the shape and size of every obstruction are different, each struck-through error has its own unique appearance, making these coins particularly interesting to collectors who specialize in mint mistakes. One mistake many beginners make is confusing damage with genuine mint errors. A quarter that has been scraped, bent, drilled, polished, or exposed to chemicals may look unusual, but those changes occurred after the coin left the mint and usually add no collector value. Experienced numismatists compare suspicious coins with normal examples, study known mint error characteristics, and rely on professional authentication whenever a discovery appears significant. Careful verification is essential because true mint errors are much scarcer than ordinary circulation damage. If you believe your 2001 Rhode Island quarter may be something special, the best approach is to preserve it exactly as you found it. Never clean the coin, because cleaning permanently alters the original surface and often reduces collector appeal. Place it in a protective holder, examine it under bright lighting with magnification, and compare it with another Rhode Island quarter that appears normal. If the unusual feature clearly originated during production, professional grading and authentication can determine whether you've uncovered a genuine collectible. Sometimes the most rewarding part of coin collecting isn't finding an expensive coin. It's discovering the knowledge and experience that come from examining every coin with patience and curiosity. As collectors continue their search through rolls of quarters and forgotten coin jars, one question always stands out above the rest. What is the real value of a 2001 Rhode Island State quarter? The answer depends on the individual coin. Most examples that circulated for years are still worth their face value because they were produced in very large numbers. However, coins with outstanding original luster, sharp strikes, and virtually no wear can attract collector premiums. especially when they receive high mint state grades from respected third-party grading services. If a coin also has a dramatic, authenticated mint error, its value can be considerably higher than that of a normal circulation example. Professional grading is one of the most important steps in determining a coin's collector appeal. Expert graders examine every surface under magnification, evaluating the strike, luster, preservation, and eye appeal before assigning a numerical grade. For modern quarters, the difference between a good mint state coin and an exceptional top-grade example can be significant because flawless survivors become increasingly scarce over time. A certified holder also provides confidence that the coin has been independently evaluated, making it easier for collectors to buy, sell, and preserve important pieces. The Rhode Island quarter holds a unique place in the popular 50 State Quarters program, a series that inspired millions of Americans to begin collecting coins. Many people who had never considered numismatics before suddenly started searching their pocket change, hoping to complete an entire collection representing all 50 states. The Rhode Island design quickly became one of the program's most admired releases, thanks to its graceful sailing scene and strong connection to the state's maritime identity. Even today, complete state quarter collections remain one of the most popular ways for new collectors to enter the hobby. One of the greatest myths surrounding modern quarters is the belief that every older coin is automatically worth a fortune. In reality, the market rewards genuine rarity, outstanding preservation, and authenticated mint errors, not ordinary circulation pieces. Viral stories on social media often exaggerate prices or confuse isolated auction results with everyday values. Experienced collectors avoid making assumptions based on sensational headlines. Instead, they study verified sales, compare certified examples, and understand that each coin must be evaluated individually. That careful approach is what builds lasting knowledge and prevents costly mistakes. Perhaps the most exciting part of collecting is the possibility that the next handful of change could contain something unexpected. Every coin has the potential to teach you more about American history, the minting process, and the artistry behind U.S. coinage. Even if your next Rhode Island quarter turns out to be a normal circulation coin, the experience of examining it sharpens your skills and prepares you for the day you truly do encounter an authentic mint error or an exceptionally preserved example. In this hobby, patience often becomes the collector's greatest advantage. Before you spend another quarter, take one more careful look. The 2001 Rhode Island State Quarter may not make every finder wealthy, but it represents a remarkable chapter in modern American coinage and continues to inspire collectors around the world. Keep learning, keep comparing, and never stop searching, because every coin carries a story waiting to be discovered. Thank you for joining today's collector journey. If you enjoyed exploring the history, mint errors, and collector value of this remarkable quarter, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. More rare coin discoveries, collector alerts, and exciting coin news are coming soon. Until our next adventure, happy collecting, and may your next coin be your best discovery yet.